Issues and Tissue, a contemporary magazine program that engages and discusses issues of development within and outside the state. The program brings to the fore ranging topics like education, politics, agriculture, just name it, while we examine the nitty-gritty of the issue in focus. Join me, BC Akpaida, every Wednesday on African Independent Television, AIT, for an exciting time. Issues and Tissue. If we can think it, we can discuss it. Hello, and thank you so much for staying tuned on African Independent Television here in Benin City. I am BC Akpaida, and you're on to another edition of Issues and Tissue, your developmental program that addresses issues of development in Edo State and environs. Today we have a special topic. We'll be looking at the issues of the Niger Delta, the agony, the challenges, and just maybe the positives, if any, on the program. We have a gentleman who will be discussing the issues. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back on the program. Issues and Tissue, a contemporary magazine program that engages and discusses issues of development within and outside the state. The program brings to the fore ranging topics like education, politics, agriculture, just name it, while we examine the nitty-gritty of the issue in focus. Join me, BC Akpaida, every Wednesday on African Independent Television, AIT, for an exciting time. Issues and Tissue. If we can think it, we can discuss it. All right, so welcome back. The program is still Issues and Tissue, and I'm here with Comrade MACKSON ODE. He is my guest today on issues that affect the Niger Delta. How are you doing, Comrade MACKSON?
I'm well. I'm good. Only that the Niger Delta seems sick.
Okay, well, if you say so, I'm sure you're going to tell us more about it today.
Sure.
Comrade MACKSON ODE is the Senate President, Niger Delta Student Union Government, and it's good to have you on Issues and Tissue today.
It's my pleasure to be here today.
Now, let's get to know more about the Niger Delta Student Union Government and the formation, because it's not like it's completely new, but you guys have been scarce, I must say.
Yeah, we've been scarce. That could be taken for something not too serious, but it may be for this environment.
Okay.
Generally, we've actually had our activities and we've been in touch as far as issues affecting the Niger Delta is concerned. Mm-hmm. But basically, the Niger Delta Student Union Government is a mother body of all student union bodies across the 9 states of the Niger Delta. Okay. Of course, the 9 states are the Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Imo, Delta, Edo, and Abia. And Ondo making the 9th one. Okay,
yes, let's go into the Niger Delta formation. Now, we know that in about 2000, the NDDC was formed, and to at least improve the lot of the Niger Delta. Can you really say that this has been achieved?
Honestly speaking, except we want to be economical with the truth, or try to paint situations good where they are supposed to be told exactly what it is. The NDDC as an interventionist agency had not done well, had not actually fulfilled its mandate. If I'll go straight to what the NDDC was formed to do, as inherited from the program of the predecessor, OMPADEC, there are 2 cardinal objectives. One is for human capital development, okay, and the other supervision of the development of the area, of the Niger Delta area. In these two aspects, I would say that the NDC has actually not done much, because human capital development, there's really little to talk about. And then the supervision of the developmental projects in the area also has actually failed, as in course of time, where we enumerate some of the projects that have been initiated.
Okay, let's take the human capital development projects. Where is that? That's where you put the amnesty program, right?
Yes, yes.
And now, can you tell us how far that program has gone?
Yeah, like I said, the amnesty program, like originally it was meant to actually, what we call it, the DDRO, the disarmament, reorientation. Of course, the disarmament has succeeded. That was at the point where arms were taken from the militants, and then the other D of it, which is supposed to be okay, I wouldn't want to call it the radicalization, but that was done. But the reorientation, that's where the problem is. It's actually the reorientation. That's where the scholarship and others come in. Generally, amnesty is a prerogative of the government. It's just like mercy will forgive you. So, will forgive you, in turn, submit your arms. They've submitted their arms and all that. But the reorientation aspect of it is what has failed. That's
the reorientation and empowerment.
Yes, and empowerment. Now, so far, in trying to execute the reorientation and empowerment, the scholarship issues came up. And students were meant to go into various institutions, some of the within and outside this country. Unfortunately, you do not send students, ordinarily parents do not send students to school without the necessary support. But in what we have currently, we have students in very many of our higher institutions who are not paid the regular bursary, who are there stranded. Some of them have had to abandon the studies. And that was why, so a couple of months ago, the Niger Delta Student Union government protested that the scholarship of these students, especially those of them abroad, those of them here will understand that they could rush to friends and families. Those of them abroad have been left for over 2 years.
And have we had allocations in this regard?
It was shocking that the director of projects, in the person of Dr. Cairo Ojogbo, was met about 2 weeks ago, and he said that there's nothing the NDDC can do now because these funds were not budgeted. Now the question is, what exactly is therefore budgeted by NDDC? If the Human Capital Developmental Project, which is a sponsor, scholarship, bursary of students, not budgeted, then what else is budgeted? They claim that the resources, in interview on the national television, he said that they are trying to look for funds in order to take care of the bursary of those students abroad. So I wouldn't say that it's not budgeted. Perhaps it is not prioritized.
Exactly.
Yeah, they may have the funds coming in. What else, if not for these cardinal objectives? That's actually where the questions should come. That whether NDDC had actually taken the affairs or the affairs, what the purpose of which they were established seriously, or they have other purposes they are serving. That is what we'll try.
All right, let's look at the issue of manpower development now. What kind of skills acquisitions have been promoted around the Niger Delta? And can you actually name a few of them, if any, and how well are they striving?
Some of these things are very, very sad to say. Let me just go back a little to the skills, just as you've said. Some of these programs, the amnesty programs, are mere lip service. Just to put it on record that we've done this, we've done that, while they know that these things have no direct impact on the people. For instance, the people of the Niger Delta are traditionally fishermen,
yeah,
farmers, hunters. We have what makes the Niger Delta unique is actually the presence of the oil. Nothing apart from that, and that what makes it unique, and that's what has actually destroyed it too. Now, generally in signing an OML, what we call the oil mining license, there are conditions precedent to these companies, and when you come, there are two conditions. One, you have to engage these people. Two, and there's what we call technology transfer. So when these I'll call them the IOS, the International Oil IOC, the international oil companies come in, and before they sign this OML and other licenses that they acquire, there are provisions that any community, your host community, should be involved in your activities. not just being involved, that after some time you set up certain structures that would ensure that technology is transferred, so that with time you wouldn't need to export expatriates to do these jobs. But what do we have? We have these companies there. These companies tell the Niger Delta people that they are not qualified to work.
So who ought to train them?
The companies. The companies have
And
it.
so why are they not doing that?
That is it. Because probably there is a connivance between the company, the NDDC, especially the DPRO, Department of Petroleum Resources, especially the DPRO, because the DPRO is the supervisory agency that on these companies, and then report to NNPC. NNPC, of course, NNPC is supposed to be the owner, so to speak, because the way it is, it's not outright. The license does not give the company, the IOC, the outright ownership of this place. It's under the NNPC. Of course, we have Mr. President there as the Minister of Petroleum, who supervises. So the NNPC only signs on behalf of the minister. The question is, every year they go for renewal of licenses and all that. And the according to the Petroleum Act, of course, 1969, which had long been amended, the core issues there is that before the license is renewed, they must have documents to show that they have met these conditions. Some of these conditions are engagement of the people, training of the people, and establishment of the system that ensures that the technology is transferred to these people as a matter of time. But in all, there's nothing. The people are not engaged. There's no training. That's where we come in. There's no training. There's no plan to transfer technology. Before I stop on this, let me quickly just point to the one we know already. I say that the Niger Delta is actually a time bomb. It will explode. It's just a matter of time. ODE, sorry, not ODE now. Oloibiri was once the pride of Niger Delta. These things were not done. There's no training, no plan to transfer technology. There's nothing. The NDDC, our OMPADEC as then did not do anything. Today, Oloibiri is a forest. That's exactly what may happen to Niger Delta if these things are not put in place.
Well, I'm sure we'll have people like you, Comrade MACKSON, who will keep agitating and keep, lending your voice until these issues are changed. Yes, I was still speaking with Comrade MACKSON ODE, who is the Senate President, Niger Delta Student Union Government, and is right here with us in the studio. We'll be right back after this break. Issues and Tissue, a contemporary magazine program that engages and discusses issues of development within and outside the state. The program brings to the fore ranging topics like education, politics, agriculture, just name it, while we examine the nitty-gritty of the issue in focus. Join me, BC Akpaida, every Wednesday on African Independent Television, AIT, for an exciting time. Issues and Tissue. If we can think it, we can discuss it. Thank you so much for staying tuned. You're still on to Issues and Tissue on African Independent Television here in Benin City. And I'm here with my vibrant comrade, MACKSON ODE. He's the Senate President, Niger Delta Student Union Government. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Now, your office requires that you put a few things in place. How far have you gone, and what's the positives? Are we just going to be looking at the negative part of it? What do you think we can do to make Niger Delta, the NDDC, at least responsible, to make them responsible to their duties?
Thank you very much. The situation at hand now is actually somehow, I say somehow because since this year, of course, we are aware of the COVID issue.
Yes.
Shortly in the month of March this year, we were in Abuja to meet directly with the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs with our agitations, with our plans. Unfortunately, anyway, we were caught. We were right at the Secretariat in Abuja when the announcement of lockdown and all that came up. So we could not meet with the minister directly, but we had done unnecessary correspondences. And that's what brought us to a point where we had to confront the NDDC directly especially on the cries of those students abroad who have been left stranded. Some of them have returned on very pitiable situations, and then who have nothing. We've confronted these people. We've told them what is required is that the mandate, those students there, their bursary be paid, let their studies continue. Unfortunately, they have this excuse that the COVID, students are not in school. We quite agree. We got to a point where we confronted the NDDC, and the NDDC, like I said earlier, it was shocking that the NDDC said that they have no plan. Of course, because the Professor Ponde-led IMC had not actually met up. The Professor Ponde IMC, of course, this IMC issue came in because it was believed that NDDC was not doing the right thing. And there were monumental corruption issues in the NDDC, which was supposed to be mopped up, investigated, and reports sent to the presidency for necessary actions. Unfortunately, all these are turned to be a game. We all see this as a sham, is a mirage. There's no way forward, there's no way backward. We all here, we all watched on the national television where the drama was staged. And up till today, as we speak, nothing had been heard afterwards.
But that's where the challenge comes, because these are appointees of the Niger Delta, right? Most of the people, in fact, all of them are definitely supposed to be from the Niger Delta. So you expect that they should have the interest of the Niger Delta at heart. Why are we having, the reverse in the case? Because yes, we were all shocked on national TV hearing, during the forensic audit of the NDDC, and it was quite alarming. Though the matter is still on, what's your reaction from the people of the Niger Delta as the Senate President of the Niger Delta Student Union Government?
Yes, we're actually taking on our people. We have reports, we have records of the series of protests that we have staged both in Port Harcourt and in Abuja. In this short space of time that the lockdown had been relieved, we had staged a protest in Abuja, well covered then by the TVC. We had staged a protest in Port Harcourt to the office of the Secretariat of the NDDC. We've asked them questions. We've done a lot of letters asking them these questions, but there's something keeps coming up, and that is that whether the IMC actually has the mandate to attend to extraneous issues, because issues like ours are considered extraneous since they were mainly put in place as ad hoc, pending when the forensic audit is done, and so they're not meant to, there's no budget for them. That's actually the excuse, that there's no budget for them for now until the forensic audit is done and dusted. Those who will be brought to book are brought to book. That's that. Then for our leaders, it's a pity that we'll be on air like this and we'll talk about our leaders in such ways. But the truth of the matter is that our leaders have actually not been our leaders. They have been very, very unfair to us. They rather served their paymasters than to serve their people. I call it their paymasters because so many of them got to those positions by way of compensating them, either for political losses or for certain political reasons. And so they are actually there to serve the purpose of their paymasters. They have forgotten that they are from a place. Home is home. No matter who puts you there and wants you to do certain things, or his cronies want you to do certain things against your people, you should always remember that you have a place that you are from. And this is a message to them now, that they have a place. We are all from the Niger Delta. The good and the bad of the Niger Delta is for all of us. They have not served us well. We do not think of what else to do rather than to keep knocking on their doors to do the right things, because they have failed us completely from the beginning to this very, very point. So it's little we can do to point at those, the paymasters who have put them there to do certain things which they have always done and done wrongly to the detriment of the Niger Delta people. the Niger
All right,
Delta.
let's look at the amnesty program. Do you think government should continue with that program, or is just another avenue of siphoning money?
Like I said, the amnesty program was actually meant to, reorientation and empowerment of the people. If you have successfully carried out a disarmament, and you have also successfully taken these people out of the military activities, then the question should be, what else should you do for them if not to engage them? So if the amnesty program is going to be stopped, what does the government have in mind? Because they must be engaged.
Yes, they must be engaged, but we also know that at some point, I don't want to call them militants now, those who have been reoriented,
yes,
among them, now saw it as, just an avenue to collect some monthly stipends and enjoy themselves. Was that the essence of it? What went wrong? At what point? And how do we retrace and recorrect?
Thank you very much. Like I said before, government had politicized a number of these issues. One is that the real essence of sending these people to school, orientation and empowerment, shouldn't be temporary. There should be a long-term plan. For instance, these boys were brought from the creeks, sent to school or to learn one or two trades. Where are you fixing them? That is the issue. If you are not fixing them anywhere, then how do you expect them to live, to survive? If this amnesty program, so to speak, is stopped, there's likely going to be the issue of these boys going back to the creek.
That's the point. Shouldn't that be the major agitation? So that, people are not actually shifting the focus from that to empowerment. Because you can't be talking about empowering the people who doesn't even have where to, maybe actually carry out their source of livelihood.
The government is not sincere. That's the point. That when I talked about Ogoni, I talked about the Bayelsa, I talked about the Delta, I talked about my place in Bramatu, for instance. You can't. The government is not sincere. Gas flaring, we all know. According to OPEC, according to UN, United Nations, gas flaring should have stopped since 2010 across the world. But till today, go to the corners everywhere, they still flare gases or still flare gas. Now, if government is not sincere in its own part, what then do you expect the people to do? Ogoni cleanup has been on. It became anthem some time ago, and it's no more. Yet Ogoni is still there. Every government comes in to talk about the Ogoni cleanup. Or is it the other places we don't talk about?
Even I know the Buhari government has also spoken about it.
And
they're working towards it. But I think we all need to find out how far and how well, and maybe speed up on that process. In as much as we can't ask the boys to sit down, fold their hands while they're cleaning up, then we must also look at the process of, reorienting them so that they can get back into the society. Now, what will be your parting shot as we wrap up on the program?
Honestly, my parting shot would be two issues. One, government should take the issue of the human capital development very, very seriously. The issue of, if you must train persons in the Niger Delta, the youths in the Niger Delta, then you must train them in line with jobs or jobs that should be available, or to be self-employed. Don't just give people admission to go to school, to go and study history. For instance, you want to reorient them, fine. But study some courses that that may put them in a disadvantaged position. You have taken the glory that you've sent these people to school. You've trained them. You can't just have everybody pushing the pen in one direction, for instance. You should have specific plans. Let's say a 10-year plan. By the time this person goes through school for 4 years, he should be able to, immediately he's coming back from school, he should fit into this particular thing, or this particular job environment, or this is what you are doing. Not making the person go to school and afterward you want to continue paying, you are tired now, you want to give up. What do you do, or what do you make of that person? That's my shot. Government should redirect its program. Issue of amnesty, stopping or amnesty shouldn't come up at all. Should redirect his program on ways and how to train this the Niger Delta youth to be more useful to themselves and then the society. Then number 2, developmental projects should be taken very seriously. Whether the leaders of Niger Deltas do the right thing or not, I'm sure if government has the will, it will be done. In the Niger Delta, across the Niger Delta, projects are started and never ended. Projects are shabbily done. I still want to maintain that if the government has the will, these projects will be done and done well. So government should look at the Niger Delta in that direction. Let projects start and let the projects end. NDC should be better supervised and not just used as political conduit pipe to settle some political scores.
Thank you so much. I'm sure with you as the Senate President for the Niger Delta, Student Union Government, maybe some of these points and these agitations will be pushed, and we can have a better Niger Delta to at least oversee the functions of the area, of the region rather. Welcome with MACKSON ODE. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And the program has been Issues and Tissues on African Independent Television. We hope that the Niger Delta takes its pride of place and the necessary things needs to be done. I think the leadership question and challenge is a major issue in Nigeria, and it's also an issue with the Niger Delta. Are the square pegs actually in square holes? Do we have, you know, the right leaders directing the affairs of the Niger Delta? These are some of the issues we will want to address, you know, in subsequent editions. Do not go nowhere. This is your #1 station, African Independent Television. And until we come your way again next week on another edition of Issues and Tissues, I remain BC Akpaida. Have a lovely day.
Issues and Tissue, a contemporary magazine program that engages and discusses issues of development within and outside the state. The program brings to the fore ranging topics like education, politics, agriculture, just name it, while we examine the nitty-gritty of the issue in focus. Join me, BC Akpaida, every Wednesday on African Independent Television, AIT, for an exciting time. Issues and Tissue. If we can think it, we can discuss it.